Alright, 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 alright. Just got the call, it's going down tonight. It's a lot of goodbyes here tonight. But then I saw the stallion that I like. Hair from Cali, I live in the valley, then you look sexy.
Welcome to another episode. Yes, sir. It's official. Like a referee with a whistle. Doing another late night banger. You know what I'm saying? Doing what we always do. Gonna talk that talk. And we're gonna go out and make it happen. Because that's what we do over here. Like, share the video. And even if you listen to this later, hey, you can still share. You know what I'm saying? They say sharing is caring. You know? So, you know, it's I talked to a lot of people around the country, really. And I get emails from time to time. I'm not really an email type of guy, but I do respond most of the time. And even some of the comments, I'll respond sometimes. I'm not really big on responding to messages that people leave online, but I'll get back to most people if they shoot me an email, But what I found that there's a pattern when it comes to most men, I would say, men and women. But I'm a man, so I'm talking from a man's perspective today. Let somebody else talk to women. I'm talking for the men. I listen to a lot of guys, and I know a lot of guys all across the country, really all across the world. Really, I know at this point in my life, I know people all over the world at this point. And that's a good thing, But there's a pattern when it comes to most men. And it's still going on today, especially in American society. And this is something that every guy, more than likely, has in common. Damn near every guy has been lied to about something involving women. Damn near every guy. Something that somebody might have said, even if he wasn't really paying attention. Somebody has lied to a guy, to you, about something involving women. I mean, that's pretty common, I would say. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. At some point, somebody will lie to you, something involving women. And as you get older and you have more experience, whichever comes first, you realize that, man, that's simply wasn't true. And what happens is a lot of us have to learn the hard way. And the hard way is not necessarily the best way. The hard way can sometimes be tough. It can be hard to take. But if someone would have told you the truth early, I'm talking like as a teenager, maybe some of your trials and tribulations could have been avoided. Maybe you would have made better decisions, but you made decisions without being aware that you have the wrong information. That's the problem. And let me tell you what's worse than having someone lie to you is when they see you going down the wrong path and they won't say anything. They'll sit back, smoke a cigarette, and watch you crash and burn, walk through the fire and crash and burn. And they know you're going down the wrong path. They might even sit there and listen to you. And they know you got the wrong information. They know it. But they still won't say anything. You be like, wait a minute. Whose side are you on? You mean to tell me you claim you care about me, my well-being and everything. You claim you love me. But you're willing to sit back and let me go down the wrong path without even pulling me to the side and saying something? Say anything at all. And this scenario happens all the time. You know, people sit back, people will go along, get along, you know, people, and this is like, I'm gonna say the majority of people are like this, men and women. Now, some people would say, well, why would they know that you have the wrong info and not say anything? Well, a lot of times it's because they benefit from the way things are. So as long as things are going the way they would like, no problem. You know, people are selfish like that. You know, as long as their life, their relationships, their livelihood is going in the direction they want, it's all good. And another thing you have to realize is your friends and even some of your family members, they want you to do well, but they don't want you to do as well as them. Yeah, they secretly want you to do well, but they don't want you to do well as them. So that has a lot to do with them not telling you when you're on the wrong path to success. It don't even gotta be success. A lot of times it can be something small, minor. It can be something as simple as telling you that, hey, man, that's probably not what you want right there, man. She ain't that type of girl. They won't say anything. They'll just, you know, let you date the girl, and he knows that the girl's been ran through by the whole town, whole hood, or wherever y'all live at. But he still won't say anything. Man, and everybody else will be looking at you like a fool. Like, what the hell he doing hanging with this? What the hell he doing taking this girl out? He taking her out to Capitol Grill and shit.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, he taking her out to Capitol Grill. And meanwhile, me and my buddies we just had an orgy with her 2 weeks ago. But there's nobody saying anything to him. He don't know. You know? Nobody's saying anything. And women, they're doing the same thing. You know, they do the same thing. I think in some cases, women are worse than guys. You know? I mean, a woman that knows, a lot of times, all her friends is in on it. All her friends know how she really get down, and you dating this woman, everybody in on it. Even some of her family members might be on it. They know she's dating a slew of guys, a Rolodex of guys. I mean, she got a guy for everything. She got a guy that's a trick. You got a guy that's a street dude, dope boy. She got a guy that's the traditional guy, or I guess the nice guy, the guy that you get married to. And then she got the guy that she calls when she needs to do some dirt. You know? But you don't know this. You have no clue of this because you haven't seen that side of her. But her friends and family, they all know how she get down. But when you see her, you just see, hey, she's a good looking woman, well dressed. You know, she's respectable. You know, she treats me well. You know, you only know what you know. You only know what you see when it comes to her. But everyone has at least two sides, or another side, like some people would say. But everybody's in on it. You know, so when you come around the family or the friends, and she brings you around, because she trusts her friends ain't gonna expose her. So they acting like it's all good. That's her. That. All her friends know is she talks about you all the time. She really likes you. That's all they know. You know, and they'll begin to like you eventually, or maybe they think highly of you because she keeps talking about you, or maybe she mentioned you a couple times, and then they was like, "Hey, when we gonna meet this guy that you keep talking about all the time?" You know, and probably more than likely, you're probably one of the best guys she's ever been around, or at least had the opportunity to be around. That's usually how that is. So that's why her friends would be like, "Hey, when we gonna meet him?" You know, because they know how she is. They know how she get down. You know, so she's kind of living a double life. You know, she's got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. 1 foot in the streets and 1 foot out the streets. That's you know, she's kind of in that shadow world, and then she's trying to have the traditional relationships. That's what I mean when I say 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know what I'm saying? But her friends, they know this. You know, she probably one of them women that'll do something strange for a piece of change every once in a while. Maybe once a month, she will do something strange for a piece of change. You know, just to pay the bills, or maybe she's just one of them greedy women. There's some women that I know that I've met in the past, they don't necessarily have to do something strange for a piece of change, but they do it anyway because they're just greedy like that. You know? And then they'll have you know, that other guy that really likes them, that don't judge them, at least not yet anyway, because he don't really know who she is. He just knows one side of her, you know? And this is I'm not going to say this is a common thing, but this happens more than you probably think. And the reason why I know this, because it happened to me. I met probably three or four women that were like this. They got one foot in, one foot out. You know, they got one foot in the shadow world and one foot in when it comes to having a traditional relationship, having a family. It's like they want to go the family route and have kids and quote live happily ever after, but the streets is still calling them, because it's like it's that fast money that gives them that urge, gives them that rush. They can't get past that. It's really a weird, it's kind of a unique situation, I would say. And this woman works a 9-to-5 job. This woman works a 9-to-5 job. She's a corporate woman. She makes a pretty decent salary. She's not living, she might be living paycheck to paycheck, because she keeps blowing the damn money. It's not like the money she makes, she can't support herself. The money she makes, she blows it. You know what I'm saying? So she ain't necessarily struggling. She just overspent. And this is, like I said, this is not something. This is not an unusual type of woman. This is not unique at all. You might work with a woman that's like this, but when you see her, you don't see her in that light. You don't think he would ever do anything like that, because you have to realize, being on a job, you only see, most of the time, that's a front anyway on the job. That's not the person you working with, that's not who they really are. And most people put on a good face, So this is the type of stuff that, I don't know about you, this is the type of stuff that no one told me when I was growing up. Yeah, they said, yeah, she's a hoe or a loose girl or whatever. Yeah, I know that. We all knew them type of women that were kind of out there growing up even in high school. Yeah, we all knew them type of women, girls exist. We knew that. But there's some women that are very conservative. There's few and far in between, I would say. Sometimes our parents didn't really want to talk to us and tell us what was really going on out here. Luckily, I think I was lucky. I had two parents that were honest with me. Now I had to ask the question. Now they didn't volunteer. That's what I would say. But even though I would have to ask questions, and still then, they still were uncomfortable with it though. They were uncomfortable with answering the questions, but they gave me an answer anyway. So that's one thing I always respected about my parents. Rest in peace to them. Is they were always honest. I don't care how uncomfortable the conversation was about what. They were always honest about me. They always gave me the most, the best answer they could, because, I'm from a small town and my parents never lived in a big city. So they couldn't tell me from their perspective as far as living as how was it living in a big city? Because they never live in a big city. They live in a small town their entire lives. And my parents were older than most parents. That's another thing. See, my mom had me when she was 41 years old. So by the time I was 20 years old, she was in the 60s. She was 61 by the time I was 20, And then I was in the Navy and started traveling and all that stuff. So, and my dad, he was what? By the time I was 20, he was 67. So he's almost 70 years old at the time. So by the time I get out, my dad, he's what? The time I got out of the Navy, he's 72. And my mom is what? She was 65, 66, going on 66, So my parents are older, older and wiser. Now, one thing they could talk to me about how to deal with people. They gave me the basics, basically. You got to learn how to speak, listen, and write. Master those three things. And eventually, you'll be good to go. It's over. You're gonna win. Now, this is what my parents told me now. Now, I didn't understand it at the time. Because, see, they were grooming me early. Because I used to do a lot of speeches at church and other church functions when I was younger. So I was always speaking in front of people. Not speaking on the microphone like today, like I do today. This was a part of my upbringing, basically. Speaking and writing was part of my upbringing. So this is not really anything new. The only difference is I don't speak in front of an audience. I speak, on camera, But they gave me the basics. Say, hey, if you learn how to speak, listen, and write, you're going to win. And it doesn't matter what you decide to do. These are the three major skills you should master, And, I kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But as they got older, they started having health problems. And that's when I actually got it. I understood what they were talking about. And they were right. They were right. So my parents always were honest with me. I always respected them for that, And you have to understand your parents can only tell you or show you based on or as much as they did or experienced. So, in other words, if your parents can't tell you or teach you something that they didn't do, now you might say that's probably obvious, but no, not really. Because there's a lot of people out here that are trying to teach other people how to do things and they haven't done it. So it's not as obvious as you might think. As a matter of fact, there's people online that are telling people to do things or telling people places to go and they haven't been there and they haven't done it. And I know this for a fact. People are telling you where you should go and they still live with their parents. They still live in the parents' basement. You got 35, 40, 45-year-old men still living in their parents' basement, and they're telling you that you should get your passport and travel. But I'm like, well, it's easy for you to say. You still in your parents' house. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have responsibilities like a lot of guys do. You don't have no rent. At least not. Your parents are not going to tell you to pay rent this month or next month if you're living with them. They might tell you, hey, pay half, if that, or they'll tell you to pay some of the bills, but then you're not paying all the bills. That's my point. So it's easy for somebody like that to tell you, hey, you should go to such and such country, and get your passport, and the hell with North America, the hell with the black woman and all this crap. Foreign women are better than black women and, all that type of jive, And see, a lot of these guys online, unfortunately, I don't blame them when they make comments like that. If you're like 25 or less, I understand why they're saying what they're saying, but they don't even understand why they're saying what they're saying. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you're young like that, 21, 24, 19, 17, the reality is you really don't know shit. You really don't understand how things work and what's really going on out here. Now, you only know as much as you've experienced when you're young like that. But how the world works and how things really go down socially, politically, you really don't know shit when you're 21, 22, 23. That's just what it is. And you might say, well, how do you know? Because I used to do the same shit. I used to be 23. I used to be 25. I used to be 19. And when I look back on it, I didn't know shit. I really didn't. I didn't really understand what was going on until I got out the Navy. That's when I really realized that, man, there's a whole different world out here. And everything that I've been told, 80%, man, that shit don't work that way. It don't go down like it might appears like it on the surface, because there's surface level way of thinking, way of being, way of seeing, and then there's below the surface. Some people call it the shadow world, underworld. But It don't work that way. See, we've been conditioned to see things like it comes on television, you know, or we listen to other people. We get influenced by other people. And other people, like your friends, they don't know what they talking about either. So you spinning your wheels. And once you get on that circle, shit, that might that might last for that could last for 20 years, 15, 20 years. And then by the time you're late 30s, you figure out that, wait a minute, I've been fucking up all this time, making all these damn mistakes because you were too arrogant and you thought you knew what you were doing. You thought you knew what you were talking about. But you were too young to know. You just didn't have nobody to tell you what the real deal was. Because, especially now, when I was growing up, not so much. We used to listen to older people. We used to listen to older people. Older people, they had the wisdom. Today, there's like a disconnect between young people and old people. And I understand why. Because the people, when I say old, I'm talking like people like 60 to 70 years old, that category. That age group kind of left the young people, well, wait a minute. I'm going to say 55 to 70. That age group kind of left the young people hanging. That's why there's like a rift. That's why a lot of young people they ain't really feeling the old people because they kind of left them hanging. And now a lot of these young guys and young women too, they out here trying to figure this shit out. And they're frustrated. And if you go back to your parents or your aunties or your uncles, that's between 55 and 70, and tell them what your problems and what you got going on, they don't really have nothing to tell you. They want you to throw in the towel and give up and kiss ass. And they're not really trying to empower you and want you. They don't really know what to tell you. They still want to keep the shit going. They still want to keep the lies going, to keep the train, keep it going the way it is, because, like I said, they benefit from it. They benefit from having things keep going the way it is. If things change tomorrow or next week, your parents, your aunties, your uncles, they would have to change. They would have to start doing something different. Okay, so let's, hypothetically speaking, let's say the whole economic system crumbles. The dollar falls. The whole system breaks next week, right? Your parents, your uncles, your aunts, even some of your grandparents, if they're still living, they would have to do something different. They would have to change. Their whole way of living and surviving, or however they've been functioning all this time, they would be forced to do something different. And they don't want to change. They don't want to do it. They want to keep doing the same thing they've been doing, going on that job and kissing ass for 15, 20, 25 years. They don't have no problem with that because they're comfortable with kissing ass. They're comfortable with being second class or being second. They're comfortable with that. They've been doing it for 20 years, 15, 20, 25 years. So they're not, your parents, unfortunately, they're not trying to do anything to break that, they're not trying to do anything for you to. They're not really looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. You know, they. I mean, even your wife. When your wife go to the job, she's kissing ass, man. I wish you had a camera and you could automatically have the camera follow your wife or your girlfriend or your mom and probably even your dad at work and see how they function socially at work. And boy, if you could get that recording in color with audio sent back to you automatically, you'd be shocked how they function. You'd be shocked how your wife or your girlfriend and your mom function. And when they come around you, when your wife or your girlfriend come around you, she's like some badass, like feminazi type of chick, you know. She's more masculine than you. But when she's at that job, oh man, she's like a different person. She's very submissive. She's like a little pet. You know what I'm saying? It's like something that you probably never even seen before in your household. You'd be like, God damn. You'll be shocked how some of these women act at these jobs. They're very nice at these jobs. You know, especially now, because people are afraid of, you know, they might get laid off now, you know, because a lot of people are getting laid off. And so a lot of women are on their P's and Q's. They're trying to put their best foot forward, you know, trying to stay off the radar, so to speak, you know. So even off the job, when I'm out and about, now women are very nice. Women, these are today, I would say, just socially speaking. Now, of course, a lot of women be on some bullshit too now. You know, they might be faking the funk. But for the most part, when you interact with women today, these are some of the nicest women ever that I ever seen. Because there's a lot of women struggling out here. You know, so a lot of women are kind of like, hey man, if a guy is trying to get at me, you know, he might not be the ideal guy that I want. But a lot of women be like, hey, I might have to take one for the team. Like serious. A lot of women are like that, man. You know, let's take white women for example. White women, a lot of white women are struggling out here. So I give you an example. You might have a white woman with big ass and tits, and she might be a pretty good looking woman, you know, for you know for society and most people's standards, right? And a lot of brothers might be getting at her because she has heavy features. You know what I'm saying? And that's usually the case, you know. So that white woman would probably, you know, maybe she ain't feeling the brothers like that. Maybe she never dated a brother like that. Maybe she done it in high school, college, if she went to college. But probably not, you know. But let's say she's 28, 30 years old. You know, the white guys ain't really trying to get at her like that. So after a while, some brother comes along and kind of win her over, you know, because she's 30 years old, 31, 32. She's getting up there in age. And you got to look at it from a white woman's point of view. You're like, look, I ain't trying to be single for the rest of my life. I want a family, you know, and And the guys that giving me the most attention at the moment is these black dudes. So, hey, you know, one guy comes along, asks her out. Maybe they work together. Maybe she thought about it after like a week. She might have told her friend, hey, this black guy on the job asked me out. I told him I would think about it. You know, she told one of her girlfriends that just to see. She probably ran it by one of her girlfriends just to see what she would say. And her girlfriend didn't say anything negative. So she like, okay, I'm gonna go out with this guy. I'm gonna give him a chance. You know what I'm saying? She goes out with the guy. They have a good time. You know, and everything's cool in the game, right? And then a couple weeks go by, they go out again. And then probably the second or third date, they smash, right? So now, you know, they had a good time or whatever. Everything was cool in the game. So now that same white woman, she has to justify, at least try to justify why she's around this dude, why she's dating this dude. And now, based on her friends, because, you know, she's going to talk to her friends about you, about the guy she's dating. And she might say something like, well, I know there's a lot of stereotypes about dating black guys and everything, but the guy I'm dating, you know, he's a nice guy. He seems to be a nice guy. I don't really know what the problem is or what everybody else or everybody else experience was, but hey, I like spending time with him, and I'm gonna keep dating, you know. And she'll tell her friends that, and she might even tell her parents that, you know, because you know she's been basically brainwashed to stay away from black males, you know, directly or indirectly, or wherever she was conscious of it or not, or aware of it or not, you know. But she'll find a way to justify why she's dating this dude, even though she's been told not to. You know what I'm saying? And that all happened because of how things are going in society, as far as the economics, the you know, the things aren't as easy for women the way it used to be. You know, things aren't as easy for a lot of people the way it used to be. And this happens because things change within society. When things change in society, socially speaking, people adapt, people change their minds, people make different decisions. And it's always and always keep in mind that people do what's in their best interest. Period. So in a situation like that, that woman would justify why she had to do what she had to do, even though nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. Now, maybe her parents might care who she date. You know, maybe her friends might act like they care who she dates. But the reality is, most people don't care who you date. But that's what people think. That's what they put in their mind, you know. Because some people act like, okay, when they act like the people that they hang around in their 20s, they act like they're going to be going on double dates for the rest of their life or some crazy shit like that. No. When you get in your 30s, hanging around with your girlfriends and other guys, double dates, and that shit is like, so you're not gonna be doing that shit very often. Hanging around with 20, 30 women and hanging around with 5, 10, 15 guys in the cruise and a bunch of women around, that shit is gonna be dead by the time you late 30s and 40s. No, the only time you're gonna get you'll be hard pressed to find a bunch of 40-year-olds hanging out together on a regular basis. That doesn't happen. I mean, the only time I see people in their late 30s and 40s and 50s get together in large groups, it has to be some type of special occasion. But other than that, just like me calling my buddies and be like, yo, meet me at the bar and bring 5 of your boys and bring 5 of your girls, and that's pretty much dead after 35. That doesn't happen very often. It's hard to get people together once you hit a certain age, because people are married, they have kids, they have responsibilities, and they only have but so much free time. So that free time that they have, they probably want to just relax, because most people are exhausted. They're tired. They say it all the time. I'm tired. So, their time is limited, especially if they have kids. So if the free time they have, they probably don't want to go elsewhere. They probably just want to stay home and relax. So this is why, you being 40 years old and you hanging out with all your buddies that's 40 years old, that's not going to happen very often. Now there's networks of people that get together every once in a while, job opportunities, they do businesses or whatever. But just hanging out, just to be hanging out, that doesn't happen very often. No. Based on what I've seen, based on my experience, that's very rare today. No. Once you cross 35, that's those days of you going to Cancun and 5, 10, 15 of your buddies on a plane together. No, that's pretty much over. Those days are over. You know what I'm saying? You have a hard time getting your buddies to come out the house that's married. You call them up, hey man, let's go to the bar and watch football. He can't even leave his house. You call one of your girlfriends if you're a woman, be like, hey, let's go to the movie. Nah, she ain't trying to go no movie.
No.
Nah, man, them days is over, man. That's every once in a while, people will come out, but every week, no, it's not. That doesn't happen. The people have too much responsibilities. They have kids, they're married. They got a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people overwork too. So they'll work 5, 6 days a week. They're exhausted, after those 5 days. So, they need the weekend to recoup. You know, even if they don't have no kids, or even if they're not married, they still need the weekend to recoup. You know, so that's usually how that is for most people. You know, so you just have to understand how people function out here. You know, but none of this you know, none of this really I would say for me personally, nothing really changed until I changed. Nothing really changed until I understood female nature or just human nature. You know, that's when I really started to grasp and put things together. You know, but before that, I was spinning my wheels like most people out here. You know, I was listening to the lies. If you're looking at that television, it's all, you're never going to get the truth on TV. You can forget about it. The television, and see, a lot of people online are operating just like people on the television. They're following the latest trends, just like they do on television. So if I'm like looking at a video, I'm really paying attention to what somebody's saying. I'm like, oh, those are the same talking points like they do on Fox News. They have the same talk. The person online doing a video about money, economics, jobs, he has the same talking points that they have on CNN. So you know he's lying, you know, but people go along with it or they get sucked into it because a lot of times it's based on personality. They like the person that they're listening to. So they're much willing to give this person the benefit of the doubt because they like them. So a lot of times for most people, especially when it comes to politicians, it's not what the person is saying for most people. It's about them liking the person. If they like the person, that means more than anything. That means more than what the person is saying. This is why a lot of this is what makes some of these politicians great. It's not because they you know do what they say. No, it's because they understand human psychology. They understand what people want to hear, and they never deliver. Most politicians never deliver. They lie all the time. You know, they'll say what they need to say and do what they need to do to get the votes and get in office. You know, and some of them don't even need the votes to get in office. That's another thing. Some of them don't need the votes to get in office. You know, some of them cheat, make deals to get in office. This type of stuff happens, you know. But it ain't got nothing to do with him delivering on what was promised. Unless you gave him a ton of money during his campaign. The people that gave him the most money, they're first. Everybody else, oh well. That's usually how that goes on a local level. Well, no, not even on a local level. On a federal level too, state level too. The people that donated the most money, they're first. Everybody else, oh well. That's why they said follow the money. They always say follow the money because that's, you know, money talks, bullshit walks, you know. So just that little bit of information, you know, that changed everything for me at the time. And I'm in my 20s when I'm understanding and learning all this. And when I went in the Navy, man, that was like a culture shock for me. It was like a culture shock. because I'm like, damn, I've been living 20 years of my life and I'm basically lived a lie. So damn. So it's called culture shock for me, man. So when I get out the Navy, I can't go back the way I used to be. I can't go back the way I used to think. From here on out, I gotta become something else to function out here. Because you gotta think about it. In the military, they mold you, groom you to be something else to function in this environment that we work in. Right? But when we get out, that person, that don't work. That person doesn't fit in. That person doesn't function very well. Now, there's some exceptions to the rule, of course. But for the most part, that person doesn't function in regular society. You're going to have to start your own business or something like that. The corporate way, more than likely, that's not going to work. Because in the corporate world, it's not about being productive. It's about keeping the train moving, keep things going as it's been going. And and just do what you're told, and that's it. It's not about being great, being the best you can be. No. The people at the top, yeah. You just getting hired at the bottom, no. So that's why that doesn't work unless you're on the top of the pyramid. So when I got out, it took me some time to learn this, about maybe 5, 6, 7 years to learn this, that person who I was in the Navy, I'm still that person, but that person don't work out here. So I gotta become another type of person, And I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for anybody else. This time, I did it for the establishment when I was in the Navy. But now I'm doing this for me. And the best part about it, it's going to last forever. Forever, forever, ever. Until the day that I die. That's the good news. And I never have to start all over again. That's the good news. And I'll be able to pass this on to the next generation. That's the good news, man. And they'll never have to go through what I went through. That's a good thing. So, hey, let's see. Alabama in the house. Liked, share the video. Check out my Patreon, man. I'm putting up a new video on there tomorrow. New video audio on there tomorrow. Check that out, man. And I'm putting up a new video on my YouTube channel tomorrow as well. I did a good interview with a woman named Harmony Woodington. Very good interview I did with Harmony Woodington last week. I'm gonna upload it tomorrow. You know, very good interview. Probably one of my best yet so far. You know, so any questions you have, go to my website, chooseyourrelationships.com, all that good stuff. And like I said, man, check out the Love Can't Wait podcast. And check out the Patreon. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.